be an ecumenical matter.
Hello and welcome to Ecumenical Matters, the Fathered Head podcast. We're up to episode 23 today, season 3, episode 7, Night of the Nearly Dead. And I'm here with Kiel Cathers, what is it, Psycho Killy musician?
Psycho
from the band The Logues.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Kiel?
I'm doing very well, James. Good to see you again.
Brilliant, yes. And you've been recently touring an album, Coming of Age?
Yes, we have indeed, yeah. The album came out in, well, I think it was April anyway. It was either April or May, something like that. And we've been basically touring around Ireland and doing a bit in Europe as well since then. So yeah.
And have you any gigs lined up in the immediate future?
In terms of Belfast, I suppose we're in the Empire Music Hall on the 29th of October.
Ah, fantastic.
So yeah, write that down in your diary there.
29th of October, and if you're looking to get some ecumenical matters the day before that, the 28th of October, I will be at play in the Lunchtime Theatre Club at the Lunchbox Theatre Club, at the Black Box on the 28th.
Oh, good man.
Quite busy in the next few weeks.
Good man.
So so hopefully some of the fans will come down and see you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been touring all over the place, and you're reading.
Pretty much,
TV
man. We're on TV recently as well. But yeah, we've done, like this year alone, we've done, where have we been? We've done Dubai, Spain, we're going to do Switzerland soon, Holland, and there's somewhere else too. We're getting around, we're like a bad smell, basically.
Grand.
We're getting around.
I'm sure it beats sitting beside me in a call centre.
Well, that's very true,
the poor customers of Vodafone Ireland.
Exactly.
But this week, as we said, we're talking about Night of the Nearly Dead, and I'll discuss the title first because it's been a feature of episode or season 3 really that the titles are now a bit more descriptive of the episodes, which wasn't really the case in season 1 and 2.
That's true. Yeah.
So Night of the Nearly Dead is obviously a play on Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, or there are a number of zombie films. So they're going back to their horror roots. There are a lot of horror crossovers in Fathered Head. So do you have any zombie movies that you're
No,
spring to your head?
I have very limited insights in terms of zombie movies. However, I did see it's George Romero, isn't it? That directed that.
Yes.
And he did the one Dawn of the Dead you mentioned. That's the one they're in the shopping centre.
I think so. I think
not the whole time, but there's a scene in the shopping mall. Yeah, I've seen that one. I loved that one actually.
Right. Okay.
But in terms of beyond that, I've seen a bit of The Walking Dead, so my zombie knowledge is pretty poor, to be honest.
Well, to be honest, I'm a bit fatigued with zombies. Like everything these days is fucking zombies. But back when it was George Romero, I haven't actually seen that trilogy, so I can't really comment. But then you had 28 Days Later came out.
That's
about
right.
2003, I think.
Yeah.
And it totally reinvented the zombie genre.
Yeah.
And then we haven't stopped since, and this is about
pretty
13
much.
years later.
It's pretty relentless. Yeah.
Exactly. As you said, The Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead, and then The Walking Dead comic, and it's everywhere. But zombies, they seem to be, like, even yesterday I was chatting about, zombie walks that they have in Dublin city centre and stuff.
Right.
People go into Trinity College with, all the zombie makeup on and just slowly walk around.
I mean, it does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
It'll be good if you're hungover, it'll be a good excuse. Just to project how you're feeling outside.
Well, exactly. Well, it does turn out that the nearly dead of Craggy Island, as in the older people, are pretty besotted by the Eoin McLove characters.
Yes.
Very, very much based on Daniel O'Donnell, or yes, we can sort of
the king. Daniel O'Donnell.
So I had a few facts written down, but since you went the extra mile and went to do some research yourself, do you have anything you can tell us?
I literally went the extra mile because we were detoured in the middle up a mountain, so we had to turn right round and go through Letterkenny. This is obviously, if you've never been to Donegal, this will be meaningless to you, but it was a very long detour, and then we get to it's called the Daniel O'Donnell Visitor Centre, and it was closed. But luckily we went into the bar, one of the bars nearby, and somebody had a key, which is the great thing about small towns in Ireland. Jimmy has a key there to that place, we'll let you in, no bother.
Oh really?
So we got a tour on our own, so
fantastic.
It was good fun.
And, what kind of stuff was in it?
So, I mean, not that much, to be quite honest with you. There was basically loads of posters with really funny quotes from Daniel, and just career highlights, his album listings. It was pretty amazing to see. Like, he sold 10 million albums. Which you wouldn't think.
Yeah, well, I was going to say his actual record sales are phenomenal.
Yeah.
He actually holds quite a few British chart records. So he's had a charting album every year since 1983, which is a current record. The 16 top tens. His biggest hit was "Give a Little Love," which went to number 7 on, funnily enough, the 11th of April 1998, which was just 2 weeks before this episode aired.
Right.
Which was quite. So he actually was at the peak of his powers.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of when the episode came out, it's interesting because he probably was at the peak. I think at his peak in the UK, at least.
Yeah.
It would have been a familiar. Owen would have been recognisable, I suppose, to the English audience as well.
As a parody of Daniel.
Yeah.
And he's got an honorary MBE, and he was one of the few Irish people to sort of get a positive attention in Britain in the late 80s and early 90s. You had Terry Wogan and Daniel O'Donnell, and then a handful of others.
Yeah.
So he's a bit of a a figure in that way. But yeah, as you say, he's phenomenally famous, and I really don't understand why.
I think it is. I don't know, like the whole country music thing is kind of incomprehensible to me as well, as somebody that enjoys good country music. You know what I mean? Like your Merle Haggards and your Willie Nelsons and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And you have this kind of phenomenon in this country of just incredibly twee and dishonest kind of stuff, like talking about songs about tractors when the dudes have probably never been in a fucking tractor kind of thing, that kind of way.
Well, it's just up around our way. Like there's a country music festival in Fitna, and I swear it's the biggest event Fitna's ever hosted.
Absolutely, yeah.
In the Ecclesville Centre, and I do not get it. Like Gareth Brooks could sell out 5 nights in Croke Park. Yeah. And it was so big that they had to actually cancel the concert because the city of Dublin wouldn't be able to handle them. And 5 nights in Croke Park is roughly equates to about 5/8 or 400,000. So that's about, literally an eighth of the country, an eighth of the population of the country.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
So But Daniel, like, at least you could say with Gareth Brooks, he's got glam, he's got showmanship. Daniel has none of those things. He's no glamour.
This is what I thought now, but when we went into the museum,
the Daniel O'Donnell Museum,
visitor centre. Sorry, museum makes it sound like he's
he's
a thing of the past. He's very much relevant, but no. What was I going to say?
It's charisma. And
yes, no. Well, sir, it doesn't have very much charisma. Let's be honest. But one thing I was surprised by, like in his early career, he was actually a pretty handsome dude.
Well, yeah. Well,
he was. Yeah.
He's got that. He's got a very wholesome sort of look, and he's got a wholesome image, which I do think is genuine. I do genuinely think he is just that thing.
That's one thing I wanted to mention as well, because the one thing you can't question is his sincerity.
Yes,
I think,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't play up to the fact. He's not acting like he's from a tiny village in Donegal and raised by his mum and loves his ma, loves Donegal, loves his village. Just really friendly. They played footage of him just meeting people in the village, and it was just, hi Mairead, how are you?
Exactly.
He just knows everybody, and from he's a sincere guy. So I'm not going to take anything.
I have heard stories that he'll have met a fan that saw him last about maybe 12 years ago, and he will still remember their name. And stuff, even though he's probably done that hundreds of thousands of times. So there is, he is just very personable and everything. I think that's what sort of keeps him sort of at the top. But we'll get into the episode anyway. Because it starts off with Dougal is watching some dodgy. Well, I was trying to figure out what they were trying to parody. Is it a science show or a sci-fi show? Or
I wasn't too sure about that myself. I don't know.
Well, it was basically trying to show that there's shit on TV. It showed a scientist sort of introducing a character who was played by Frank Kelly, and clearly a sort of proxy for Jack. I couldn't tell if they were trying to black up or if he was supposed to be just muddied. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say
benefit of the doubt,
because they already have done the black up thing with the Supremes tribute.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Forgot about that.
So they were on tightropes with that kind of thing, like a wee bit, but we'll let them away with that one. But Ted says he shouldn't be watching TV because there's nothing on. And it's probably a lot worse back then when there's 4 channels, but I don't think much has changed. I mean, I was chatting to somebody the other night, and he's got Sky, he's got all the Sky channels, and 600 odd channels. He still ends up just flicking eventually to Sky Sports News because there's never anything on. That's and even if there is something, like say you flick on Father's Head or something, or like Scrubs or something, you've you've invariably seen that episode before,
exactly,
or you missed the start of it, so you're not gonna watch it from the start. So Ted says, let's go start reading, and the book he reads is William Shatner's Tech Wars.
I actually want to ask you, is this an actual book? Because I have know nothing about Star Trek or
I
William
didn't think
Shatner.
to check. Well,
I thought, is it like Gary Lineker's Ghost Stories or something, you know what I mean? Or is it an actual...
That's what I assumed as well, actually. Yeah, Gary Lineker's Ghost Stories. But William Shatner, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any history of literature.
Right.
I might be wrong about that. I might have a complete blind spot on my my vast swathes of knowledge and everything. But he is known for his unique cover versions, of course. William Shatner.
Yes, I heard common people. That was pretty incredible, actually.
She studied
Well, it's
sculpture.
quite weird that it actually took off, because
That's where
he takes Common People, which is a very, very melodic, sort of epic pop song almost, and he brings it right back down to sort of
loaded.
the spoken word almost,
Yeah.
with a very cheesy beat at the
So
end.
yeah, it's only when I learnt that song
And
recently
in
for a
30
solo
seconds
gig
time,
that I
she
realised
said,
it's actually really good. You know, it's about class system and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. You know,
well-
so yeah,
Well, I only
works.
I only picked that up when I saw somebody perform at karaoke, because for years I did not like that song, and then
Right.
somebody started playing at karaoke, and I actually saw the lyrics, and the guy was actually
Yeah.
singing it reasonably well.
That's a great song.
And I was like, Jesus, this is actually a class song, and it's become one of my favourites since.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ted suggests Dougal reads. So what Dougal decides to
Of
do
course,
is
he
read over his
reads
shoulder,
Over his shoulder, yeah.
which, you know, that is the
Like he
antidote.
was his child or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Well, see, the thing is, reading is very necessarily an antisocial activity.
that's
So Dougal was trying
yeah.
to just, you know, make it a more of a shared experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know, when people get on their high horses, I read a lot, I don't watch TV.
Common
Well, that-
reading should be encouraged.
Yeah,
especially
exactly,
if you're on a train or something, join in with the person reading something.
Exactly. The amount of times you're sort
Try
of
it yourself.
you're reading the sports stories on the person beside you's newspaper, and they turn the page, and
You're ripping,
You
yeah.
feel like elbowing in the arm or
Yeah.
something. Just go back there. It wasn't finished. But then we get Owen's debut on TV, and he sings a song, "My Lovely Mayo Mammy,"
Yes.
and as you said, it was very, very much in the parody of Daniel O'Donnell. But I do believe it was written by.
Neil Hannon, yeah.
Hannon.
The legend himself, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote all this music for
Yeah,
Ted,
yeah.
and I'll just close that window for you.
You're all right.
Yeah, it's a brilliant moonbeam is coming right into your face. But yeah, so what did you think of the track then, as a musician?
Well, as a musician, I don't know, but it's kind of scary how accurate, or not accurate, but how close it is to the kind of thing that you would hear. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe the mammy part, but certainly you'd have like "My Lovely Home in Ballinasloe" or some fucking
Yeah.
shit like that. You know what I mean? In
In
fact, no. Actually, I'm pretty sure Daniel has done songs about his mum. And
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised. I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised. Did he do "Pretty Little Girl from Oma"?
He did, yeah. I don't know if he originally did it.
Is that not an older
It was
song?
either him or Hugo, one of them two.
Hugo,
Duncan.
did he perform as well? Did he?
I think Hugo. I'm nearly sure.
Right. Fuck, I didn't know that.
I don't know who wrote it, so I know Daniel's definitely done it at one point. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's definitely made it famous.
Yeah.
There was a famous thing where the Troll manager, Mickey Hart, shortly after his daughter was killed, RTE did a radio sketch, and they were taking the piss out of him. I can't remember what it was for that they were taking the piss out of, but they started playing that song, and Mickey Hart took it that they were insulting the memory of his daughter, and he hasn't spoken to them since.
Oh, really?
And that's about 9 years ago now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's still one of the top GA managers in Ireland.
Oh,
but
yeah,
RTE
yeah.
Cannot get a look in to interview him.
So he's
And-
doing like an Alex Ferguson thing, just boycotting RTE.
well, pretty much, yeah, pretty much. He's, I think he's met Alex Ferguson a few times. He does take quite a lot of
picking up some tips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no. But Owen on TV, he's very the actor, and fuck, I had his name and I've completely forgotten it now.
Oh, Patrick McDonnell, is it?
Yes, he played the part absolutely fucking
Oh, brilliant.
perfectly.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just the sort of soft, asinine presenting style.
Yeah.
And now we'll go and we'll see what the poem there is.
Yeah.
His name is Eoin McLove. And it's just like a Blue Peter presenter for pensioners, like.
Yeah.
So, and Mrs. Doyle is obviously besotted, but Jack's not too
Not too impressed.
but it pans across the crowd, and they're mostly old age pensioners, as we assume.
Oh, what I loved actually in the museum as well. There was they showed footage of Daniel. There's I don't know. Well, I'm sure not a lot of listeners will have been to a Daniel O'Donnell concert, but there's
Well, we don't know.
yeah, you never know. But there's a point in which he'll go into the audience and he'll sit beside one of the old ladies in the crowd and, you know, hold their hand and sing to them directly. But this lady in particular in the video, she was wearing one of those hats that all the old ladies in Father's Head wear. I couldn't believe it.
The
Exact same
ones.
hat. Yeah, the tea cozy hat. So that was pretty funny.
No, very good, very good. Well, so he goes into the poetry corner, and I love the transition where the old woman from the song is still meant to score up the stage. Yeah. Here we are now.
So he moves like 5 foot to the right.
Yeah,
the poetry corner.
Just moves to a different camera. Onto the frame. And he mentions his favourite things, which of course are jumpers and cakes, and we will come to that. That'll become very prominent later on.
Yes.
But so Mrs. Doyle, she talks very briefly about her husband.
It's probably the first time, is it? Only time, is it?
Well, she mentions her husband having his lad in his hand. And
was that? Oh yeah.
And wanting to degrade yourself.
Yes.
So she has mentioned it before in a much more, intimate way than she's what we know she's going to chat about. We don't know what. She doesn't even say what it is that he reminds her of.
Yeah. Mysterious.
Well, yeah. So she is very protective of her personal life. Like it's.
Yeah.
You think the priest would be the one person she could.
It's true. Yeah.
Chat to about.
Maybe it's just, I don't know.
Well, we've come to the conclusion that she must be a widow.
Yeah.
And she lives in the house.
Or she's some kind of indentured servant and she can't see her husband.
Yeah. That's just the parish housekeeper. Oh, but yeah, so whether he's still around is very much up for debate. So maybe he is, and just can't.
He's just Ted's got her.
Well, see, as we get to the end of the episode, of course, the men of the island can't really look after themselves. Their wives aren't there.
Oh God, that was.
So she's the only one that's doesn't have to actually leave the party. But Ted and Dougal, they're become a bunch of men just sitting around talking about women. Women. TCHA, one of the greatest words in the English language. And Ted decides just to do a nice little moment for Mrs. Doyle, and he writes her a poem and gets on to send to the show, and he thinks it's going to be a walk in the park. The contents of the poem is never revealed, is it? No, it's not.
No, that's a pity.
He assumed, he must have written something very, high-minded and highfalutin, because he takes inspiration from a beggar boy who he
that's right.
takes a look at and just lightly ignores, and also Mrs. Doyle falling off a window.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to actually try and figure out what the connections would be.
Yeah.
So beggar boy, Mrs. Doyle falling, and Eoin McLove, and Ted's inflated sense of
exactly
of his artistic merit.
Yeah.
But then we hear a story about Father Nolan, who was in a gas explosion, and he could only be identified by his teeth.
His dental records. Yeah, that's right.
Now, when I first heard it, I had to actually go back because I thought they said Father Noel,
right?
Which of course is
Graham
Lennon's character.
Yeah.
But Father Nolan. So that's why I wrote it down. I thought it was Graham Norton's character.
Yeah.
I thought he had met his end, but we already know
hopefully not.
He's still under the rocks.
He's still under the rocks. Yeah.
But we get one of Dougal's natty jumpers. This time it starts off. He's got two this episode. It's a natty grey number. The first time, did you see that?
Yes.
And I thought they were going to be they're going to maintain that jumper throughout the episode, so it wouldn't clash with Owen's jumper.
Right off. Yeah.
But he does actually get a second one later on, where it's beige with patterns on it. So he gets to really express the wardrobe this time.
Like Lady Gaga with the costume changes or something.
Well, exactly. Yeah, the next one needs to be like raw meat.
I've just a raw meat in my mouth.
Yeah. But then we cut to Mrs. Doyle, and she's in a completely catatonic state.
That's the power of these personalities, the Daniels of the world. They can do that to elderly women,
Well, it's just fandom in general. It's just the very idea that Eoin McLove might come to Craggy Island literally puts her into some sort of mental state. Now, if you were to ever get that famous, would that make you feel uncomfortable? Because I know it certainly would for me.
Well, elderly women, probably not.
from the
I have no idea.
but
That's not something.
middle-aged women.
Yeah, well, that's a different matter. No, it's not something I'll probably have to worry about. Now that I'm past my peak, in terms of not a boy band look anymore.
But sure, you can get the sort of what do you call him? It used to be in pulp. The Richard Hawkins, Richard Hawley.
Richard Hawley.
Is that right?
In pulp.
He might not have been in pulp. I might have got that wrong.
Jarvis Cocker was pulp.
And then was there not like a load of unseen members? And
God, I can't think.
Well, we'll come back to that.
We'll
clarify that in the corrections and clarifications of the parish bulletin. But so Ted wrote the poem, and he assumed it was his poem.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Doyle was able to reveal immediately it was her poem that won the competition. Yeah. As a writer, I can totally empathise with Ted's frustration there.
Yeah.
I mean, you went just last week. I went to a sitcom competition, and I thought, right, I'm writing a sitcom for BBC Two, 6 p.m. Sunday audience. It's going to be, reasonably friendly. It's not going to be smutty. It's going to be a nice idea about volunteer firefighters. And I didn't get through the shortlist of 6. And it's like, I bet you some fucking Mrs. Brown's Boys clone's going to win or something. It's going to be absolute shite. And
that's the thing.
Why does nobody get my fucking genius?
You just know Ted was something really self-indulgent with all this imagery and all this shit, and then Eoin McLove has a lovely face.
Yeah.
I think that was the one it won, was it?
I didn't actually take down her line.
But something like that.
But it was definitely Mrs. Doyle's poem.
And
Ted even comes back to this later on in the episode, before Owen leaves. He actually goes up and asks him, so was there any other poems?
That was one of my favourite bits. As if it was mad. What was it? We had to call the police.
We thought he was demented. Now, the implication there is that he's chatting about Ted. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean he's chatting about Ted. Because you don't think that Owen, especially in the with the personality that Owen has, that he would ever get anywhere near judging the poetry competition.
True.
Surely some lackey at the bottom of the production floor just picks one out of a hat or something.
I'd say I was probably just out of a hat. Basically, was how they did that. I'm pretty sure every poem would have been more or less around the same subject.
It would have been like writing a letter into children's TV or getting your picture on the wall at the back of CBBC or something. So Dougal rubs the salt in a wee bit as well. It's like, I'm very confused. That would mean your poem's worse than it.
I love it when Dougal has those moments.
Yeah,
he can get to him.
He can twist the knife, can't he?
Yeah, not completely on what's the word?
You don't think he means it?
He doesn't mean to do it, but yeah.
Well, some people think he does. I'm of the impression that he doesn't. That it's just. It is just tactlessness on his part. And he just doesn't get it. But but then Mrs. Doyle goes to the supermarket, and first thing she sees is the presentation of the tall tea bags.
The tall tea bags,
the tea bags that are shaped like a really tall tower. And I think this was taking the piss out of the fact that around that time we were starting to get the very first circular tea bags. Moving away from the squares. We get in the first circular, and then the pyramids, which I think is what they're directly.
That was a short-lived thing, wasn't it? The pyramid ones.
I think you can still get the pyramid.
Can you?
PG tips are still pyramids.
Are they?
Yeah, I don't.
See, I wouldn't drink that. I wouldn't
touch that.
It's a bit like UHT milk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wouldn't touch it.
There's no demand for that. That's shit. But then, of course, there's the Kerryman's tea bags, which are waterproof. That's one of the oldest Kerryman jokes I know.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
What's the latest invention? The waterproof tea bag. But the Kerryman jokes. Jimmy Carr uses that as an excuse to make stupid Paddy jokes.
Right.
And I'm a bit. Wait, what have Kerry people ever done? To be the butt of those jokes? Like,
I haven't met too many Kerry people, so I can't really. Stereotype them, really.
No, exactly. Usually you just see them at the other side of the GA.
Pretty much,
divide. But I'm trying to think. Do I actually know any to speak to? I don't. I'm thinking about.
If you're from Kerry and you want to befriend us, so we can.
Well, they don't get podcasts down there, according to my
according to your well,
maybe they're right all along. Actually, all they're good for is kicking a football.
Exactly.
But Mrs. Doyle encounters an envious rival at the supermarket.
Yes, I remember when I was. Well, I suppose one thing I was thinking of actually when it was, thinking about the podcast and stuff, is when exactly I would have watched this episode. So this came out in '98.
Yeah.
I would have been 12. April, I would have been 11. So I'm trying to think, did I watch it at the time? I must have done, because I remember it kind of freaked me out, the way she hovered over it, the look in her eyes.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so funny though. It was so well done.
Yeah, exactly.
She was clutching the handbag tight to herself and just. Ooh.
Well, it was when she first spots her too. She's just the glimpse out of the side of her
eyes,
eye, and then suddenly the head goes darting back forward to avoid eye contact.
What day's it called?
Yeah, yeah. So when's he coming? When's he coming? Tell us. And then she really interrogates her. She really pins the needles in, and Mrs. Doyle sort of cracks under the pressure by twitching whenever she says Sunday.
Sunday, that's right. Yeah.
But she reminded me of Bette Midler's character in Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I haven't seen that actually. I'm a complete movie Philistine, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Well, see, again, I'm going back to the fact that they've got a lot of horror history, and I might be making this connection.
Oh, you're probably right.
With no basis.
You're probably right. Yeah.
But it's the way she pursed her mouth like that, and Bette Midler did the same thing in Hocus Pocus, which is a film about witches.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a good kids horror film. Like,
right.
It scared the shit out of me one time.
Yeah.
My cousin won't leave me alone because she thought it was hilarious that I jumped when there was a big scary jumpy bit. But as you say, she glides over like some sort of spectre. So
yeah.
But that's just the Craggy Island effect, isn't it?
It's brilliant. And there's one of my favourite lines from Ted is in that scene as well, where it's like, I know I've quoted it with the boys in the band. Well, the boys in the band and I, all we do is quote Father Ted, basically. There's always some situation that can tie into some quote, but it's like Mrs. Doyle is asking her to promise not to say anything, and she's like, "Oh, I promise, Mrs. Doyle. What is it again? Oh man, it's leaving me now." So, or should I be struck down with every disease as possible for a middle-aged woman to have? And between you and me, Mrs. Doyle, we know that's a lot of diseases. Oh, so good, so good.
Yeah, well, the sinister of that as well. Like,
yeah.
So clearly she doesn't believe in any.
Clearly.
In any being smited or anything.
Because she's screwed.
Exactly. So. She uses that fear that Mrs. Doyle would have. A woman of faith that she wouldn't share herself.
She was straight to the lighthouse tower and the Morse code and everything.
Well, I was going to say, it cuts directly to a Craggy Island map. So we have seen Craggy Island on a map of Ireland before,
yes.
On a weather map. And this is actually a close-up.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, very, very briefly on the... I can't think off the top of my head which episode it was. I think it might have been the Henry Sellers episode.
It wasn't anywhere surprising. It's off the coast of Galway kind of direction, is it?
Yeah, off the coast of Galway, yeah.
Right.
I'll have to go back through my notes for the roundup episode. I'm going to round up all the trivia facts. So
right.
If there's ever any Father Ted quiz, I'll actually not embarrass myself.
Yeah.
By getting one of the lowest scores. But it's well before Game of Thrones. They were having the map.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Because Game of Thrones, well. The title sequence is all in the map, and it becomes 3D and everything. It comes from the first page of the book is a map of Westeros, and the TV show just took that probably before they had anything shot. That said, right, this title sequence we need to get do this way. But now it's everywhere. Like every TV show just wants to use a fucking map or something.
Yeah, and all the intros have to be at least 3 minutes long on TV shows these days as well for some reason. But that's why they invented fast forward, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Or one to skip. But the notable junctures in the island: the cyber cafe, the telegraph office, the pigeon sanctuary, the supermarket, and the lighthouse. All of which this mysterious character is able to utilize to its full extent. She was
busy that day anyway.
Well, she's got extremely high words per minute on her typing skills, even though internet hadn't really hit at this point, so she was well ahead of the curve. She knows Morse code from her lighthouse.
True.
So,
and I loved she was doing that, like she's doing like a mutter the whole time, like that freaked me out as well when I was 11. I was very easily freaked out, obviously. But there you go.
Well, I think that was the point of the episode, though, because it is.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
it's very useful for us to be getting into Halloween season because it's a very Halloweeny episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I say Halloween season, we're recording on the 22nd, What date are we?
We're
26th
nearly.
of September.
Yeah, we're nearly there.
In my calendar, any time after my birthday on the 12th of September, we're officially in Halloween season.
You're a September birthday man as well.
Yeah, so
I turned the 30 there on the 16th, so.
yeah. I was 31 on the 12th. So.
There you go. There you go.
But I think this woman is Ireland's greatest ever spy that was never utilised.
She should have been alright, yeah.
Jeez, we could have got messages all over the world.
Absolutely.
That kind of skill set. Which Mrs. Doyle starts preparing herself in the mirror for Owen's eventual arrival, and she gets lipstick all over her teeth.
Yeah.
And when Ted interrupts her, she gets it all over her lips.
Yeah.
Now, as gentlemen who probably don't, aren't of the metrosexual persuasion, lipstick is not an issue for us necessarily.
Not really, no.
I mean,
no.
the old time I put lip balm on, but you can't really get that wrong because it's
True, yeah.
So there's things poor women have to deal with that we don't.
I know.
Just to make us.
Yeah, the lipstick seems actually eyeliner. I think would be more difficult with it because you're near your eyeballs. So I don't understand.
Yeah, because you do have to. See, I tried doing sprucing up my eyes a couple of times.
Nah.
Not going full emo with mascara or anything like that, but just trying to keep the panda eyes away.
Yeah.
And I have done clinical trials with contact lenses before, so I'm not actually that big of an issue with
God, I couldn't.
eye contact.
Ugh.
But me and Wilma, who's been on, it was on last week's episode, we used to play this game called Eyeball Chicken, where he would go as far close as he could to my eyeball without blinking.
Oh man!
Many times he would actually touch, and so, but we survived.
Yeah.
It's in the head. You see, mind over matter. Do you know what I mean? As long as he doesn't touch the actual pupil or anything.
True.
But Owen pulls up, Dougal thinks Owen pulls up. But we're lucky he can only afford a crappy blue Ford Cortina. There's a Ford Cortina. I don't know a wild pile about cars. Is it not a pretty legendary car?
I might be completely wrong. I'll have to ask my dad, but I'm pretty sure Dad had a Cortina way back in the day. I think they were they started out in the 70s, and then the new models continued to come out, that kind of thing.
Just rehashed every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic car, I think.
Well, the funky Ford Cortina is from a very famous early hip hop tune.
And there's a Saw Doctor song as well, I believe.
Oh really? Oh yes,
Something Cortina. Maybe. Got a little red Corvette in my head now.
Oh yeah.
Little blue Cortina.
Well, automobiles and music, that's a podcast in itself, isn't it?
True.
Yeah, but then Owen does arrive in a chauffeur-driven car. It's a bit more swanky looking. It looks like a sort of knockoff Bentley or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A big massive, unnecessarily boxy, bonnet and everything. And it's very much a case of don't meet your idols.
Exactly.
Because he turned into a fucking bratty little shit.
Yeah. Well, that's where I suppose that's where the joke comes from. The fact that he's projecting this ridiculous image of complete. I don't know. Well, he has no wally. I suppose that explains.
Yeah. The big reveal, the big secret that he's got.
Sorry for the spoilers there, listeners. But
hopefully we'll assume that you've already watched it.
We'll assume you've seen it at least 7 times. But
probably on more for this week.
The joke comes from the fact, it's actually a complete arsehole.
Yeah. Well, it was a great way of doing it. Like he was some sort of mollycoddled man-child, a Hollywood sort of idea of a child star who'd never actually got beyond the rest of development of like an 8-year-old or something. It was to put that into the Downton O'Donnell character was a brilliant piece of sort of amalgamation, because if you're going to say Daniel O'Donnell's an arsehole, it's not necessarily the place you would go. Like if you were to make that comedic jump, the first thing that comes out was, so what is this place then? Some kind of mental hospital?
His lines are all brilliant. Just such an asshole. It's fucking hilarious.
Every word that comes out of his mouth is just absolutely perfect to a T. Yeah. And then he gets a bit huffy about the fact that he has to go up to the door by himself. Well, to be fair, they don't have a fucking driveway or anything. You are walking across the mud. But he lifts the seat rest and the headrest of the seat in front of him and just chucks it away. Ably demonstrating, of course, the proper uses of the headrest function as to break windows and release yourself from drowning cars. I think they're actually designed for that, I believe.
Really?
Well, I have seen it in a sort of internet video.
Right.
That
that makes sense.
a girl. Well, it's a Japanese.
Just two metal prongs, and then you can
Yeah, it was like this Japanese TV show where they were teaching this girl that this is what they're for. So you basically take them out, and because they are two metal prongs, you can just use them and stab two pressure points in the window, and the window will shatter without actually drowning you. So if you just sit there trying to open the door, the pressure of the water won't.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So as long as we're educational.
Well, if I drive into the Lagan later on, I'll know what to say.
Do you really think the Lagan's that deep? Surely all the shopping trolleys and stuff. And,
True, yeah.
Oh, to be fair, the council does dredge that river quite often. Well, they do a lot of rowing on the river, so it must be reasonably clean. But Owen has Ted and Dougal's number as soon as he meets them. Well, what happens if the old one starts shouting me? I don't know what to say. This thick one's looking a bit.
The thick one,
and someone smells a wee, and that's obviously Jack. So he just comes in and says as he sees it. You know, and I suppose it's pretty galling when I'm sure you've experienced it yourself. Somebody just comes in and just, you know.
Somebody has your number within a couple of seconds,
Well, not even that. Just it just totally ignores any sort of social mores of don't mention such and such, or and just comes straight out and says it, and it is usually quite refreshing, but in this case maybe not so much. But Mrs. Doyle is extremely nervous,
as you would be, of course, to
the point where she fails in her you know her usual bread and butter task of serving the tea, because
she'll not like that.
No, exactly. It could be the greatest moment of her career, since the Three Bishops. But and again, she fails miserably because she shakes all over the place.
She's such a brilliant physical actor as well. She's so good at that kind of thing, you know. The
yes, exactly.
Kind of side of things,
I do think the physical acting of all the Ted characters is sort of been overlooked over the years, and I'm trying to sort of bring that to sort of more attention, hopefully. But as soon as he talks to her, she faints immediately, as every. Well,
it's a good fit as well. That's right.
Yes, exactly. Just straight over timber. It just reminded me, actually, now reading that. There used to be a Michael Jackson video I had, like with all his pop music videos on it.
Right.
And at the very start, there was this just montage of just people fainting at his concerts.
Right.
And it's like, like there were dozens of people at concerts. Like, it's what is that reaction like? What?
I don't know. Well, it's usually, I would assume they were predominantly young women, were they?
They were,
yeah. I don't know. It's you see that footage of the Beatles when they came to America. I don't. Yeah, it still happens today. What I'm talking about, it really does.
Well, One Direction still get
One
that
Direction,
sort of
that kind
reaction.
of stuff.
But what do you?
I don't know. It's just hormones, or I don't know.
The blood just drains from your head, straight down. But you know, I literally just had that flashback just this minute. But they were crowd surfing girls from like halfway back in the crowd, and then the security would have to take them off and stretch them out.
Crazy.
But see the sort of demagoguery of it.
Yeah. You have to be careful when you've such charisma, everyone does,
exactly.
Power, etc.
Use it for great great power comes great responsibility. And then the hordes appear.
The hordes,
from outside the.
Brilliant.
It was a brilliant little reveal because again it was a complete left turn. I do remember seeing that and thinking, "Oh fuck, zombies!"
Yeah.
And. Again, Father has a power to surprise you so well. Like when the little square bit of dirt was on the window, there was no way you could ever connect that to that becoming a Hitler moustache, until he actually goes and does it. Like so. But we come back from the break, and Dougal thinks he can outsmart Owen. He says, "Oh, you're not afraid of the dark, are you?" It only happens when the sun. It's got something to do with clouds.
That's right.
Poor Dougal finally thinks he got somebody he can.
Yeah,
get
pretty much. Yeah,
someone who's actually got the same mental capacity as him. But
exactly. Yeah.
Owen's just a bit more cool for school, isn't it? And Dougal
streetwise.
Yeah, exactly. And they do sort of make a sort of a friendly rivalry that sort of two sort of 8 to 10-year-old boys usually make, when they're first sort of thrust into it.
Not like how Cyril McDuff kind of thing.
Exactly,
same kind of dynamic,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It was a bit different though, because they actually managed to get chatting to each other, which they haven't had. Cyril and and Dougal never actually chatted to each other that much.
No.
They exchanged lines,
Yeah,
but they didn't actually have conversations.
Right, yeah.
The last good one was the football episode.
Yeah, I actually watched that straight after I watched Eoin McLove.
Oh, brilliant,
just for, why not, of course.
Well,
It's there,
exactly.
why not, you know.
More Ted.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just pulling the flag
Yeah,
away just to be a dick about it. But then there's trouble on the rope line when they go out and they see their huddled masses of fans.
How do they realise that the women are out there again? Is there a knock on the door? I can't remember.
No, they do just go out because they're about to leave.
Oh
And
yeah,
the crowd-
that's right.
The
That's
crowd's
right.
sitting waiting for them.
That's right.
And yeah, it is sort of the celebrity pop star Beatlemania sort of idea as well.
Yeah.
They're all just camped outside and then slowly just sort of want to grab them. And no one's reaction is, "Go away, you big pile of dirty old biddies." I know the caps of menopause.
yeah. I love those lines. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And there's a lovely wee moment where Dougal mischievously locks him out and leaves him there. Just leaves him for dead, so he knows exactly what he's doing.
And then
Because he looks out the door just
Pauline, is it Pauline, his assistant? Is that her name? Drags him in again.
No, not Pauline. It's
I'm thinking of the author, aren't I?
you are, yes.
Yeah.
God, what is her name?
That lady's a singer as well, from what I
Yes,
understand. Yeah,
Patsy.
Patsy, that's the
And
one. I
it's
knew it
Mar-
was a P.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. It's Patsy there. Maria Doyle Kennedy is her name.
Yes,
and
yes, that's right.
She's a musician, quite an accomplished one as well. So again, they got a lot of they do have a lot of music connections in the show. That would come from Graham and Arthur, I believe. Both worked on Hot Press magazine. I think that's where they met.
Yeah, and there was something. There was in some way. What was it again? Were they involved in a musical project of some kind as well?
As in a musical theatre?
No, like a group.
Oh,
I don't know why Joshua Tree's coming. I know Joshua Tree's the U2 album, but
the
there's
Joshua Trio.
Joshua Trio, was that it?
Yeah, Arthur's U2 tribute band.
Yes.
I don't think Graham was involved in that, but
he wasn't. Right.
But yeah, that's where sort of the genesis of Ted came from. So between songs, Arthur would play this character, and one of them was a priest who'd sermonize. And at the end, do you remember the first episode, the Funland episode?
Yeah.
A baby has been caught. A small child has been caught in the tunnel of goats. That was him doing his Father Ted, or that character in the show.
There you go.
So yeah, the Joshua Trio. But yeah, so Ted's bad influence. Yeah, Dougal's mischievous. I don't think a season 1 Dougal would have done that. Ted's bad influence over the years is really starting to rub off on Dougal now.
Yeah.
He's getting much more. He's much more bold these days.
Yeah. Well, as I said, thought. What are your feelings about season 3? I know, like Graham and Arthur.
Yeah.
And Arthur. I know a couple of episodes they weren't happy with. They found it was becoming a bit I don't know, cliched maybe. And like the sheep episode they mentioned, I remember them talking about that. Well, how do you rate the third season?
Well, the Turby, who was one of our guests, was really not looking forward to season 3, whereas I was. There is a few duds in season 3. The Caves episode.
Yeah.
I really don't like that much.
You don't like it, no?
There's a couple others that we did recently. The football episode wasn't as strong as I remember it being.
Right.
And the sheep episode, I was actually surprised with that one. How much more I laughed than I thought I would.
Well, I think it's, your opinion of it was formed. Well, I watched it obviously when I was a child, and like the sheep one and the football one, I just found them hilarious. At the time.
Yeah.
But saying that, maybe if it came out now, it would be maybe a different opinion.
I do think they still hold up. If season 3 just dropped now, like say they lost the footage and it just dropped now, I think they would still hold up. There's also a thing that it's been 2 years since the Christmas episode and season 3.
Oh right.
I haven't done the Christmas episode yet, so I'm going to do that closer to Christmas. But so there was people were fucking desperately waiting for it. Like imagine 2 years waiting for a new episode. So people were much more forgiving. Yeah. Or not forgiving, that's the wrong word, but much more hyped for it. But yeah, I do think there's some classics in season 3. There is some top fiver episodes in season 3.
Well, Speed 3's in season 3.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
And that's one of the joint frontrunners I think for the top 5s that I'm getting. I think they were they were running out of not steam, if you want, but like they were starting to get tired with it. Like I don't think it would have sustained for another season. No. I think they knew that at the time.
Yeah.
And it is funny that what I was going to mention was that Owen isn't a priest, and the best guest episodes they've had, the best guests in season 3 weren't priests. Like Pat Mustard wasn't a priest.
I suppose with shows, there's only so far you can take it with priests.
Exactly.
Really,
Yeah.
you know?
And Noel Furlong, who was the standout candidate in the Caves episode, had already been on the show twice. So he was a well-established character. Like, so when they sort of broadened out beyond the priests, they they had much more fertile ground.
That's true. Yeah.
But I suppose maybe they felt a bit hemmed in by the fact that they sort of established that it was all these crazy priests.
Yeah.
Because there's a few things that don't happen in season 3. There's no Father Larry Duff.
Oh, is there not?
Well, not so far, unless he turned up in the last episode, which I don't think he does.
No, I don't think so.
Mrs. Doyle hasn't said "I'll go on" in the whole of season 3.
It was a bit tired after the first couple of times anyway, like, you know.
Well, exactly. We did a running count. I think we're up to 41.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it that often?
Well, we took, in the Fit and Stack episode, just got the cue cards. We counted those, and I thought that was a bit of a cheat. I think apart from that, it was about 26.
Right. Okay.
And 25 of them were, or 15 of them or something was in one episode. So,
okay. Because I was thinking it couldn't be that, you know, like that would be almost every episode.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Well, you see, catchphrases these days, Little Britain. But it was probably in every episode, like probably 2 or 3 times. So
true.
But yeah, no, I do think it's grand enough as 8 episodes, and you know, kicking Bishop Brennan up the arse was a classic episode, and you know, this is a classic episode, and Speed 3 is a classic episode. So I do think it holds up. I think it ended just right. I can't actually remember what I think of the final episode going to America. I do think it was a bit weak. Just that priest character.
My initial feeling now about it is that it was a wee bit weak as well.
Well, Tommy Tiernan was great in it.
He was, yeah.
But the American priest was just.
Yeah, Buzz Cagney.
Yeah, is a really sort of wooden, sort of tree trunk of a character compared to everyone else. Like, but we'll get to it next week. I need to get a guest for next week. I've just realised. So
somebody will come crawling out somewhere.
Well, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people always asked to be on the show that I haven't got around to getting to. So we'll see. But anyway, so they actually close the door behind them, and the arms come through the door.
Oh yeah, that's
very
very Romero. Yeah,
exactly, and. Dougal's reaction is to sit and watch until he's instructed to start helping, upon which he starts slapping Ted's hand instead of the intruder's hand.
That's right.
And Jack's reaction is just pull up a pew with a drink in his hand.
Of course.
And just enjoy the show.
Absolutely.
And then when they finally get into the safety of the sitting room, Owen just sits rifling through all their belongings and just assessing what he wants. So to take it home for later. And then we get a very out of character one for Jack when he actually speaks about 7 lines of dialogue. He
gets to use his acting chops for the first time, probably in the whole series. Really, you know.
I have written down it's the longest line that he's ever had.
Can I remember it? They lie and wait like wolves.
Yeah,
etc. Yeah.
The scent of blood in their nose.
That's great though.
And
great wee moment.
They don't even pay any remarks to it when they're just going, he's right, Ted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You think they would have made Jack, that was very...
Yeah, I mean, they did spend half an episode trying to teach him about 3 phrases.
Yeah.
So you'd think they'd be, holy shit, what's happening?
Some all-purpose phrases, like that would be an ecumenical matter.
Yeah.
All purposes such as episode podcast titles and stuff.
Indeed.
And then we see Owen's record cover is sleeve cover.
Yes.
And the album Eoin McLove Notes.
Yeah, that's right.
Where he's dressed up as an adult baby in a baby
amazing. It really is.
Well, how does your album art come into being? Do you just pick it yourselves, or do you have just a record company?
Record company? Well, that'd be nice, but
well, the manager of the
well, it's Chris in the band. He does a bit of graphic design. Is that the correct term? Yeah, he does Photoshop and all that kind of crack, you know. So the last one, he had a clock on his wall, and he literally took a picture of that and photoshopped it and made it look different. So that was it. So
it works, eh?
Yeah, the album's called Coming of Age, so I thought, well, something time. It really was a last minute job, you know. Album art isn't our forte, really, you know.
Well, it's about the music, isn't it? It's about the live show.
Exactly.
It's about what was the phrase? The Keely, Psycho
Psycho
Keely.
Keely.
Who said that, by the way? Because I saw that on
That
the
was a
website.
dude. Was a dude that interviewed us for a radio station. I think it was in. It might have been Highland Radio.
Highland, yeah.
It was Donegal anyway. But he just came out with it. We were like, jeez, we're going to steal that actually
That's
for our
perfect
our
genre.
marketing materials, you know.
Well, invent that genre, and you're on to a winner there. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe you could retrofit it to the Pogues early stuff or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we find out Dougal's not very good at estimating crowd sizes, but there's probably about 17 million.
That is, I was talking earlier about lines that we quote in the band. That'll be one of them.
Yeah.
You know, we're about to play in the, I don't know, we're about to go on stage and there's like, oh jeez, there's only about 50, I'd say there's about 17 million right there, you know.
Do you know what kind of crowds, like, what's the biggest crowd you played? Like, would you be
The biggest
the biggest
crowd
venue, or?
would have been 20,000 at
Oh, yeah, right.
yeah, well, they weren't there to see us, unfortunately.
Well, they stuck around, like, so.
Well, it was last year we got asked to do, when Dublin won All Ireland, we were asked to do their homecoming. And so
Brilliant, right.
we set up at the top of O'Connell Street, and then the whole of O'Connell Street basically.
It was just
Yeah.
lined the streets for
So
the.
that was the biggest. And then the second biggest that's actually been a crowd, probably 5,000 or 6,000.
Right, brilliant.
Yeah,
That
so
was.
it's pretty
Oh,
good.
well, like you still have a massive following. Like, I'm hearing people, like, since I met you, I've just encountered loads of people who have already got your
great.
records and stuff. So
Great.
yeah, I was a bit late to the party then.
Well.
But then what I consider the line of the show when Owen and Dougal become rivals in the kitchen. And
yes, the
Owen
jam.
said, yes. You're not supposed to eat you're not supposed to eat before dinner. Well, I'm Eoin McLove. I can do what I like. And there's a few more choice lines from that scene as well.
I can have you killed, I believe. Does it
Yes,
say that
yeah.
there? Or is it after?
And, well, Ted comes in and admonishes him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Owen,
could
put
have
that
you
down.
killed.
I could have you killed.
Where's he from? Is that guy, is Monaghan or Cavan or somewhere?
I think so. Yeah.
Got a northern accent, I know, of some kind.
Well, I did an episode over in the Edinburgh Festival,
And
I'd arranged to meet Michael Keane as a comedian, a good friend of mine.
right.
And after I'd made all the arrangements and maybe flight back and stuff, I found out the night I was going back, I was given playing 10:30, and something like 10:25. Eoin McLove, fucking Father Demo, and
Yeah.
Father Stone were all doing a fucking triple header.
They
stand-up
seem to
thing.
do a lot of those
Yeah.
things, yeah.
And I only found out after a bit we fucking ticket.
Typical. It's always the way.
But they have showed up in pro wrestling together as well, the three of them.
I think a vague something of maybe on Facebook or something. I saw a clip of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they come out and Eoin McLove's there, just baiting the crowd with, I've no witty, and the hero wrestler would come in and
Right.
Owen would distract him, and then Father Demo would come in with a steel chair and knock
Right,
him out the back.
God.
So
Well, at least they're
yeah, well, at least
they're getting a bit of work.
exactly. Like I have seen him perform. Do you know Jerry Ross at all?
No.
He's a friend of mine from Roma. He was doing
Right.
stand up in Daly's Comedy Club, and I went to see him, and it was actually Eoin McLove was headlining,
Right.
and Jerry was saying that under no circumstances was the words Eoin McLove ever to be mentioned backstage.
Oh, backstage, right,
and
right.
his entire material was nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I can see, I can completely understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know Pauline McGlynn, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's a big Aston Villa fan as well.
Of course, yes, that's very true. Actually,
Logie and her band emailed her one time saying, I really like you and I like Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Or words to that effect. Sorry, Logie, I'm sure it was more profound than that. But she replied and everything as well, so yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty
fantastic!
cool.
Yeah,
But
Aston Villa fans, there is a sort of weird.
Common bond.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you do find different ones everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
you'd be coming out, you'd be crossing a road, and somebody's about to knock
Say
you over.
Villa,
It's got a
yeah,
fucking
Villa shirt,
Aston Villa.
yeah.
Well, an Aston Villa fucking air freshener. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
And Tom Hanks and.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, that's a pretty big coup for you
Well,
there.
exactly,
I'm telling you.
Well,
We've got. I'm a Liverpool fan. We've got Samuel L. Jackson, and we've got a couple of good ones.
But sure, it's Tom Hanks. So
Yeah.
2 Oscars in a row. Come on.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. I suppose in those terms he wins.
Well,
But,
we've also got Prince William and David Cameron, who forgets.
Oh
that he
yeah.
actually supports
Now
us.
you can't claim Cameron. Actually, why would you want to claim Cameron?
I know, yeah.
But like I said, you can see why they would I don't know, not distance themselves. Well, I suppose they are kind of in a way, are they?
Well, in Paul McLynn's, I was trying to sympathise with her position because
Yeah.
for about 5 or 6 years after, she probably couldn't get a role where nobody thought, oh, it's
That's
Mrs.
true.
Doyle, we'll put her in
Yeah.
some comedy thing and she'll make some funny faces and do a
Yeah.
funny voice. Where she obviously did want to be a bit more Thesby,
Mm.
if you want, like a bit more meaty
Yeah.
acting roles.
Yeah.
So she probably had to sort of cut herself off from that and stop making that association.
Yeah.
But then I found out since the start of the podcast that she did you know them do your tax return ads.
Right.
I go on.
Oh,
The deadline's
really?
May the
Did she?
5th. I go on. Get your tax returned in.
Oh.
And that was about 4 years after Ted finished.
really?
So
Didn't know that.
she was, yeah. But I do sort of see where she's coming from. But then again,
You can see the
know,
point. Well, it's a bit like Radiohead not playing Creep for all that time. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like
Yeah.
you've done something that's given joy to a lot of people. So why would you give the people what they want?
Well,
you know what I mean? Well,
see-
maybe I'm just you know.
See, if I was Radiohead, I'd hate to play Creep every fucking night.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm-
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, you can see where they come from, but
On the other hand, do your
Yeah.
fucking job. Like.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, Creep. I absolutely despise that song.
yeah. It's not one of my favorites. to be
It's
honest.
it's you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that bit.
And that was him trying to sabotage the song.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Doyle bakes a cake for Owen because she knows, of course, that it's his two favorite things. We mentioned
course.
earlier. But she goes the extra step of baking the cake and baking a jumper inside the cake,
Indeed, yes.
which means he can't wear the jumper, but he's happy to eat the cake. No, I
Oh,
would have
yeah,
said
yeah.
it'd be the other way around. You can still wear the jumper if you just put it through the wash. But
Yeah, of course,
You eat
yeah.
the cake, you're
Just
still going to
wash
get
it.
some fluff.
That's right enough.
Do you know what I mean?
That'd be
And
wet.
especially
Yeah,
a woolen
especially those
jumper.
jumpers. Oh god,
And especially fresh wood as well. There'd be a lot
True.
of fibre and
True.
stuff coming off it.
Yeah, actually, for my 24th birthday, I had a cake jumper made for me by
Oh,
a
really?
good friend at the time. Yeah, well, it wasn't. Well, I had this horrendous looking jumper that I got in a charity shop. It was like a golf jumper. It had like cotton golf balls on it, so it was like it was a 3-dimensional jumper. It had like moving parts.
Right,
And
okay.
she got that print of that made into a cake. So yeah,
fantastic.
I had my own cake jumper. There you go. There you go.
We should make it a thing. Just everyone has to get a.
Definitely.
Well,
yeah.
another Great British Bake Off is.
There you go.
Has gone to Channel 4. BBC needs to step in with
Right enough. And they'll have the rights. Channel 4.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
go.
Should have a cake jumper week. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as Dougal ascertains that they need a distraction of some sort, they need a diversion.
Diversion, yes. Yeah.
Jack's about to pipe up with a great.
yeah.
And his idea is a bit asinine, yeah, and drink feck arse girls.
Yeah.
And
They reverted to type.
well, I
After
do
his
believe.
last speech.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do believe. I might be wrong with this, and hopefully somebody will comment. That's the first time he said those 4 words in that order, is it?
Drink, feck, arse girls?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like.
Because he always says drink, feck, arse.
Oh, you're so. Yeah.
And then girls sort of became another one, sort of subsequently around season 2.
You might be right.
And then, but then, so then would. But there you go. Yeah, that's the.
There you go.
That's the clip that you can use in every. But yeah, so Dougal actually comes up with a reasonably good idea. We should put some bingo on.
A massive game of bingo.
Yeah. Well, Dougal's usually a bit apprehensive about offering ideas, and they're usually quite good ones.
Yeah.
And this is another reasonably good one. But Ted just fucking blocks every fucking idea.
Yeah, Ted was a bit negative there. Didn't have to be so harsh on poor Dougal there. That he was trying, like.
I'm sure they could, with all the stuff that's in the house, they could assemble together something appropriating a bingo game.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not the big machine that rolls the balls around, but there's a bin.
A few scraps of paper rolled up into a fucking big a bin and just shake it up.
Although I'm not sure the episode would have worked if it devolved into just a game of bingo.
Well, you never know.
You never know. There might be some comedy in that. I don't know.
Graham and Arthur have a lot of
That's
untapped
true.
potential.
That's true.
But the siegers, as I've taken to calling them,
Siegers.
They tried a different tactic of flattering Ted, and of course it works a charm.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. Play up to his ego. Yeah, absolutely.
And so they say it was a lovely mass. He said, and the actor he quotes was Matt Perry, was it, or Matt?
He was like, I believe it was the actor who said, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Matt Perry, not Matt Berry. I think, who's not the Friends actor, but an English sort of mid-table actor who was in a few TV shows and around the late 90s. You would recognise his face. If I'm thinking of the right person, I might be thinking.
No, probably it seems like someone would quote. All right,
he would have been one of the lead stars of the Bill or something, and then would have also got like an ITV drama sort of thing.
Yeah,
but. They break through and they see him and they see him sleeping. He's like, oh my god. Yeah.
But is there not before that they throw the brick in the window?
Oh yes, of course, yes.
Or is that not?
Yes, it is. Sorry, I skipped over that. So they go into proper siege tactics of throwing messages on bricks through window, and in wonderfully symmetrical block lettering.
Yeah.
We tell Owen we think he's lovely.
Yeah.
You think there would be a bit more personal penmanship in that? It was very, very functional lettering.
I just wanted a simple catch-all message. Something they can all agree on, I suppose.
Yeah, make sure there's no ambiguity as to what the message is. But when they get in, they do actually breach quite well because they breach upstairs as well, which is quite nimble for a group of pensioners.
They did well. They did well, to be fair.
But the place becomes a museum when they get in. They're like, and poor Jack is stranded amongst them. And at least they leave him alone, I suppose.
At least they're not nuns, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
They can tolerate that.
And they're in the stranded bathroom, and Patsy and Ted worry about what's going to happen to the little ones.
That was one I was going to ask you about. That was that a direct line from Dawn of the Dead? It does seem very familiar when I heard it.
I don't think it's Dawn of the Dead. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But it was sort of a thing from films around that time.
Maybe it's just a trope.
It's just one of those tropes. Yeah. It's the young ones I worry about. Yeah. Like all those post-apocalyptic sort of but they turn around, they're playing Hardy Hands.
That's right.
Do you ever used to play that?
I thought I might have done once or twice. Yeah.
Well, they were playing it wrong. They weren't enforced.
They played it wrong. No.
Well, you're supposed to go. You put your hands together, and one person gets to turn to slap you.
So it's like
yes, and if they slap you, there's no points or anything. They aim of the game is to hurt the other person. Those bonding tactics of boys where it's as much pain as you can inflict on them. But you're supposed to, if they move without you having taken the slap, they get a free slap. So that exactly.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be able to dodge it, and if they go to hit you and you've dodged it, then it's your turn.
Right.
Again, one of those bonding tactics.
There you go.
We used to have a game in school called Killerball. Right. Did you ever play this in Canterbury?
No.
So basically, you'd have a tennis ball or a football, whatever ball you'd invariably have, and you throw it up against a flat gable wall.
Right.
And everyone of a group of 20 or 30, no matter how many it was, everyone has to attempt to catch it. And if you go to catch it and you drop it, everyone's allowed to kick you in the arse.
What?
And that's the entirety of the game. And you could spend hours playing it. It was freaking great.
Very primitive gamesmanship and Oma there back in the day,
Well, it was a boys' school, like we couldn't just go behind the bike sheds with the little lasses. But they're breached and they're saved by the sun coming up, and it's like Mrs. Doyle steps in and says, your husbands might be worrying where their breakfasts are.
Early risers, these husbands, I must say.
Well, yeah, exactly. 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
They need their breakfast ready. But it goes back to this old image of the old woman of Ireland of the 50s who was just there to cook the dinner and wash the dishes and raise the weans.
Exactly.
There'd be about 10 or 12 weans as well.
And no more than that.
Well, exactly.
That's literally it.
So from that we can sort of ascertain that Mrs. Doyle's husband is no longer in the picture because she doesn't have to scarp her.
Yeah.
But one helps himself with 2 suitcases worth of swag. And it might have basically Patsy apologises for his overall behaviour, which, as I said, was hilarious. But if you had to actually deal with it, it would be nightmarish.
It would be a hard man to work with, I would imagine.
Yeah. I have no witty.
Actually, now I think about it, it's what was your man's name in the Eurovision episode? Off stage, he was completely different to on stage as well. So just remembered that there. So
that somebody said that might have been Terry Wogan was known for getting a bit sloshed off stage, and even during the broadcast,
go on, he was like a pro.
Notice him,
But now get on the horse, giddy up.
We deciphered all those as well. We put them into proper English.
Right.
So when the giddy up one
was that right there?
Well, yes, the giddy up one. I think he was trying to say was you have to mentally prepare yourself and just get on stage and do it.
Oh,
Giddy up.
All right, yeah.
But you do, like, I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit of a mumbler, would you believe? And you probably wouldn't if your only encounter with me is listening to this podcast, because I usually do drown out everyone else. But before I go on stage, I'm not a bundle of nerves or anything, but I'm very sort of introverted and very I'm quiet and stuff.
I would have to be on my own before a gig.
Yeah.
Well, not like not like we're playing a wedding in Castle Blaney or something. I'm not going to be in just come on, get psyched up.
Huddled in room 318 or something.
Yeah. Where's my fresh tiles?
Yeah.
No, but you need a wee bit of alone time, I think.
Yeah, you need
to warming up, all that kind of shit.
But then as soon as you get on, like as soon as the door opens, I'm immediately I'm there. I'm ready to go, and
Do you do a bit of stand up yourself as well?
I have been invited to quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, actually. So
you're a braver man than me, I'm telling you.
Well, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
And it has been it is one of the, like, I do have a lot more respect for stand-ups than actors, because they are sort of out there completely on their own.
Oh yeah.
With no sort of safety net. Like
exactly.
If I drop my lines, you'd hope that somebody can pull in and catch you, like. Yeah. Whereas if somebody heckles you and knocks you off your stride, it can be very difficult to get back onto your routine. Yeah. Like, that's what a lot of hecklers don't get. Is that what they're doing? Is somebody's setting up a joke, and they might be setting it up for 2 or 3 minutes, and then somebody go, "Yeah, but your arse looks big,"
yeah,
and it just knocks you completely off your stride. Either you have to respond or ignore it, with which case then the heckler becomes the fucking center of the attention, which is what they wanted.
Yeah, I don't know, fucking hecklers. Ugh.
Yeah, but see, there's this thing in theatre that everyone should shut up and not even shuffle in their seats, which I don't get either. I think theatre should be a lot more. There should be a freedom for audiences to be more interactive.
Well, they used to be, like, when they started off. They were they were fucking bear pits, basically.
Well, exactly. Yeah, back in Shakespeare's time. People would go up and they'd see somebody who resembled somebody they know from school and go, "Oh yeah, that's you, Jimmy."
Yeah.
And that sort of shared experience is what a lot of people are getting out of. But they've sort of, theatre as a whole has just sort of sidelined that whole crowd, and now they're only getting these sort of chin stroking people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just makes it such a fucking.
And it becomes more by nature. It's more exclusive to.
Exactly. Yes.
To that particular type of person. And
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So people are intimidated to go to the theatre, or art galleries or wherever that you might feel intimidated by.
Exactly.
Basically art.
Exactly, like, so like, why is there this notion of silence in a fucking art gallery? Like, it's not as if you're drowning out the paintings, because the paintings are fucking silent. Exactly. Like, do you know what I mean? You just sit there and chin stroke and draw a bit. Like,
the only thing I can think to do when I'm in those situations is to look intelligent or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. And sometimes you want to laugh at the paintings. Sometimes they're shit.
You should be afraid to fucking say that. You'd be fucking scorned from the place. Like.
Yeah. You Philistine.
Yeah, exactly. But Ted achieves his lifelong dream to be on TV.
Is this his first time, is it?
Well, I think he has. Well, he's been on Eurovision, which would have been televised, of course.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Eurosong.
So, no copyright infringement
no
there.
TMs. Yeah. But Dougal appreciated that he always wanted to get on TV and be the sort of star of the show. But he's a bit apprehensive at first until it turns out there's a cash prize.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And he's got his. He's got a special subject, William Shatner's
Tech Wars.
Yeah. He's got that down to a T. He's got his 4 out of 4 in that. And now all he has to do is enter a general knowledge question. And the question, of course, is what was John Paul II's name before he became Pope? And
do you know?
I had to search. Did you know?
No,
I don't think I knew his successor was Cardinal Ratzinger.
Oh yeah.
I knew that, but to be fair, I was born when he was papified. What's the word? Papa.
Oh, yeah. I suppose he was Pope for a long time before.
Yeah, he was Pope for fucking ages. I think he's one of the longest serving ever. But it's not Jim, as Ted finds out.
That was funny. Yeah.
It's Karol Józef. Now pronunciations is Polish. Wojtyla.
Oh, okay.
Wojtyla.
There you go.
I had to score out a factoid that I thought was right, that he used to play rugby for Poland.
Right.
And that was apparently just an
urban myth or something?
Well, apparently it originated from a Rugby World Cup 1995 match programme.
Right.
but clearly they were just taking the piss completely. So
Some copywriter was looking for, a
Yeah,
few words extra, maybe.
it did get quite a lot of traction, that rumor. Like, I had to actually search to get it quashed because I thought that was true.
There you go.
But the look of disgust on Ted's face when he hears the question, and it should be his field of expertise.
Yeah.
And it's like, you fucking bastard.
Typical.
Yeah.
Typical. To be fair, like, maybe I'm wrong. Would your average priest know information like that? I don't know.
Well, if they'd been serving as well, well, you'd assume Ted was serving while he was, it would have been the biggest thing happening.
Yeah.
After the
I suppose it's like
Vatican II Council.
Like knowing for musicians, like knowing Bono's real name or something.
What do you know Bono's real name?
I think it's Paul Hewson or
Paul
something
Hewson,
like that. Yeah.
Do you know the Edge's real name? Because that's where I'm stumped.
The Edge? Oh no, I don't actually.
But
maybe it's that similar kind of knowledge base that you're drawing from. I don't know. Priest probably would know that.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, I suppose it's a trivia question. Like, if you're going to be on a quiz, I bet you every pensioner knew it though.
Oh,
all the audience knew.
Definitely.
So overall, your thoughts on the episode?
Like I say, a lot of times when I'm looking back on these, it's coloured by my own experience as a child watching it with the family and stuff, and just communal laughter, that kind of thing, and just wetting ourselves laughing basically.
Yeah.
And I really like the episode because I'm kind of I have a like a love-hate relationship with country music and stuff like that, and I like what they've done with Daniel O'Donnell,
the character
miss of it. Yeah. But no, it's great. I mean, marks out of 10, I would give it 8.
Well, funny you say that. I just searched while we're on the mic.
The IMDb, is it?
It's 8.7.
There you go.
Which is actually one of the lower ones of season 3.
Oh, is it?
And I don't think it deserves to be one of the lower ones.
No.
It's not quite the lowest. The lowest was the Caves episode. But 8.7. I would give it a bit higher. Like the higher ones were getting 9.3 and stuff.
Right.
I would actually consider this a top 5er.
Of all?
I've got about 10 contenders for top 5. I was initially going to do a top 10 and then realised very quickly that it's going to be the whole series. So to make it a bit more challenging, a top 5. I do think it. I was worried, in the first 2 or 3 minutes that it wasn't actually going to make the cut, but just
it started pretty weakly, I thought.
Especially that the very, very odd cutaway sequence they had at the start of the episode.
The thing he was watching. I didn't get that really at all.
And the other cutaway was Ted's inspiration. It was a bit off pace or something. It didn't quite work. Like,
I agree.
it was fair enough on its own, but it didn't quite fit into the episode. But then every time Eoin McLove was on screen, the entirety of his performance, even when he was playing, the character Eoin McLove, he was doing that perfectly. Like,
it was brilliant.
He's asking Ted the question. I think this might be a bit of a fix, and he puts his hand over his face and a sort of faux shock. Like, just the wee touches like that. Like, the actor had it so perfect,
so good.
And even Patsy playing sort of the straight man to Eoin McLove as well was perfectly realised, and Dougal's rivalry with him, and the zombie sort of tropes that they were using, and that it introduces so organically and so creatively.
So many great scenes in it.
Exactly.
And the lines, so many
quotable lines. In fact, the line of the show that I picked, I'm Eoin McLove, I can do what I like. The only reason I picked that is because it sort of personifies the character so well. But you could have picked. You could have picked 10 lines that he said there. I've no willy.
Of course he has.
I could have you killed. What is this?
Which you wonder, was this a birth condition, or was it perhaps in some kind of showbiz school where they castrated him? So he was in a perpetual state of childhood or something.
Maybe the Disney Club or something. Remember they used to have child presenter. Well, I don't remember this, but Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were all in this Disney Club, and there was a British version which I don't remember because we never had Sky.
No, I don't remember.
I think it was only on the
Mickey Mouse Club, I think it was called, was it?
There was one on ITV called that, but I think there was also the children's presented one on Sky on the Disney Channel, which I never saw, but maybe that's what they do in Disney,
Maybe that's what they do.
I think I'm going to put that into the top 5 contenders, and it is actually going to be
probably, if I saw a list of them, Eoin wouldn't be too far away from the top 5, I would imagine.
Well, here's the incomplete list. So episode 3, which was the down with that sort of thing. Episode 4, which was I've forgotten. And this first half of season 2, almost entirety of it, 3 bishops. You know, there was just loads of them. Speed 3 was another great one. You know, the Fint and Stack had to get in there.
Of course.
You know, the Eurovision episode, which is currently the front runner. So we had, you know, this has to be up there, but how am I going to pick 5 of them?
That's true. That's true. No, it'll be tough, but sure, it's
going to be the fun.
There are worse things to worry about.
To spend your time doing. We'll wrap it up there. And just thanks very much for coming down.
No bother at all, James.
The listeners can find us on facebook.com/ecumenical matters. You'll find me at James I. McAnespy on Twitter. Are you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter, yeah. I am. I've got a strange name, so it's Kiel, that's Kiel, and Cathers, which is Cathers, at Kiel Cathers. And the band is called the Logues, at the Logues on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit, you know yourself.
Yep.
And come down to the Empire and we will play My Lovely Horse.
Ah, fantastic. Yes. If that's not a promise and a half.
Certainly will, yeah.
For the Feathered Head podcast.
The Vin Hoogan and the Hoogan Notes version, of course, and not the acoustic version.
My lovely, lovely horse.
We'll get you up to do that.
I'll do the harmonies. So we've done all our announcements, so thank you very much for listening, and bless you.